She went on, speaking on their behalf like that, making him feel guilty. About what? Not going with them every step of the way. Maybe it was Echo herself who wanted to be accompanied, who wanted her hand held to the end. Her Japanese side, it required gesture. Unnecessary, irrational gesture. But she had said the words, made the accusation. And once they were said, out in the world, he had to go, hadn't he? Because if it was even just a little bit true, how could he live with that? As Leo found a spot on the train, he imagined Yumi and Yoko settling into their seats, both window seats, the first and second rows of the plane, the ones he always reserved. They would watch Shanghai melt away. They would see the city below, its expanse, its rivers, the water that had been seeping across its land borders slowly for the past 200 years, then quickly for the past 20. The city's verticality, its three-dimensionality, it was only growing higher, into the clouds, water everywhere, like melted iron, snaking through the clusters of buildings. His people, his ancestors, had built this city of swampland. His blood was in the soil. The DNA test he did 10 years back with Echo and the girls revealed barely any other origins. His ancestors were all speckled pink dots concentrated around Shanghai on the world map. It was anticlimactic, really. The only thing revealed was his male pattern baldness type, halo, and his high probability for memory loss in late life. Echo had for the most part Japanese in her, some Chinese, some Korean, Siberian. She would remember everything, forever, except how to keep her cell phone charged. Their girls, Pan-Asian, their results from the DNA test predictable, along the spectrum between his and Echo's. Leo corrected himself. Not girls. Young women. He knew the term infantilized them, especially since he was the one pushing for them to grow up. They have their freedom, their independence, Echo had said. Ah, but those are two different things, Leo said. Precision of language, please. They do what they want, but you treat them like children. They're still young, Leo, she said. Not everyone has to grow up as fast as you did. And did you ever think that maybe I want to be with them too? And then she'd had the nerve to tell him that he was the one who needed to let go. All he had been doing his whole life was letting go. Shayna was the oldest attendant on the maglev, and maybe she was the fattest as well. Her former boss had let her back on after she explained her situation to him. Her husband dead, her child sent to his grandparents in the countryside. It had been a kind of relief to come back. For as long as she had dreamed of married life, of raising a baby, it had all proved so difficult. Her husband, who'd grown up in France, who was smart, who had been a child prodigy, had never managed to give her the life they'd imagined. She'd met him on the high speed between Shanghai and Beijing. Back then, 10 years ago, she was 22 and beautiful. She walked the aisles of the train, handing out hot towels to the passengers, and she'd receive stares, compliments on her hair, thick and long and pitch black. Men would actually turn around to watch her go after she walked past. She'd seen them from the corner of her eye as she delivered cloth after steaming cloth down the line. What's your name? How long have you been working on the train? Where are you from? Shayna. 4 years. Kunshan. Nelson. So much older but playful, flirtatious, had kept peppering her with questions beyond the standard ones she got from time to time from solo male passengers. And then he lingered on the train when they reached Beijing. He said that he never wanted to get off as long as she was on it. He'd leave only if she came with him. He made a big scene, holding on to his seat's armrest while his friend pulled him away. She met him later that night, and he convinced her to leave her job and move in with him. Within 6 months they were married. They waited the requisite 2 years before trying for a baby, to rid her body of any potential radiation poisoning from working on the train. Michael came to them right away. Her boss was unhappy when she contacted him a few months ago, looking to get back on the train. There were no more spots left on the Shanghai-Beijing first.